Hi guys, my name is Brian James and welcome to DB Automotive. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks since I last posted anything. That's because I've been working on my ute. Not only have I been working on my ute, but I've also been working on the sleeping pod. There's been quite a bit of work that's gone into the sleeping pod as well, but that will be for another video. Just for now, we're going over the ute for you. So for those that don't know, this is a 1978/9 cusp year HX Holden ute. I used to own this about 20 odd years ago, and I've been very fortunate enough to buy it back. But like anything with the march of time, it needed to be modernised a little bit. So that's where we are today. I've done a little bit of modifications to it. Now, the first obvious thing is the 18-inch raised wheels. Now, I could have gone silly big, like 20s or 22s, but I feel that these fill in the wheel arches quite nicely. But, and the other part of it is, part of my philosophy is reuse, renew, rebuild, restore. This car's been restored. The reuse part are these mags. They came off my Commodore, Holden Commodore ute that I had. So with these wheels, front and rear, the offset that it should be there, which is a 0 offset, which is what the old Holdens have, would not have allowed these wheels. These wheels are a plus 35. So that means from the center line, okay, so we'll get up here. Say this is 0, the center line of your normal wheel, or where your wheel hub would be at 0. The Commodore rims are out towards the outer edge of the car by 35 millimeters. And so if I was to put that into the normal hub, they'd be in 35 millimeters. Now that would ruin the track of your vehicle. Not only would it ruin your track, you would feel it in your driving as well. It would get it, start trying to steer itself around the place. On top of that, your PCD, your pitch circle diameter, on the modern Commodores is 120 millimeters. On the early Holden utes, HX, HQ, and so on, they are 4 3/4 inch or 120.65. Now, that 0.65 may not sound a lot, and look, I know people that have slapped these wheels on, not a problem, but it will cause your studs to bend slightly, and that has the potential to create fatigue. So that's something I don't want for this car. So the wheel adapters I got in spacers. The holes in them are set for the HX Commodore, or 4 3/4 inch, and the studs that come out of them, which are rated to 10.9, so the high tensile studs, are 120, so there's no mismatch. And yeah, look, I think they space it out nicely. I haven't gone for the 35 mil because that's a bit too much. I've just gone for what's legal here in New Zealand, but they still fill it in quite nicely. On top of that, so they fill in the wheel arch quite nice, as you can see, but the back end, if we just come down here to the back end, so the back end was up quite a lot. So I got in some lowering blocks, or actually I made some at work, the heavy duty steel lowering blocks, all with internal strengthening, and it's been lowered by 38 mil or 1.5 inches. And then there was an issue to try and find the proper U-bolts for it, the bolts that go over the diff and clamp everything together. They ended up being worth more than a kit. Just don't figure that. So what I ended up doing was buying a kit from Australia, cheaper than I could have bought the U-bolts here. So now I've got blocks that are 2-inch lowering if I want to go a little bit sillier. But I'm actually I'm quite happy with how this looks and how it sits. So on top of that, we've also put in the original steering wheel I had when I had this vehicle. So when I sold the Ute 20 odd years ago, 21, 22 years ago, the guy that bought it off me didn't want the steering wheel. He wanted an original item, and that's fine. So I took the Momo steering wheel off it, and it's been floating around in my shed ever since. I didn't even think I'd ever have another vehicle to put it on, but it's an older style Momo. It's really nice to use, and it's slightly smaller. So most of the original steering wheels for these vehicles are set for the vehicle with no power steering. So they're quite big. This has got power steering in it, so I don't need as big a steering wheel for it. So the slightly smaller steering wheel and putting the seat back down onto the floor has made this a lot more usable car. I can hop in and out of it, not a problem. When I'm driving, it feels neutral again. And that's really all you want. Something that's comfortable to drive. I've just taken it out just to test all the new wheels and everything, and it sits beautifully on the road, so made a good choice. So that's the Ute. Obviously there's more things to be done to it. It certainly is in need of a tune. It's LPG dedicated, this vehicle. It's not running petrol of any shape, form or description. So once again, I'm trying to, well, I just like LPG as a propellant, as a gas. For use in America, it's propane. It's a propane dedicated vehicle, or what we down here in Australia and New Zealand and Aussie call LPG. So yeah, the LPG does need a tune. Other than that, it's going to get used a whole lot. So to that extent, the sleeping pod, which I'll do a whole nother video about, will be the little trailer on the back, and that'll enable me to go to a lot of car shows and that. And I'm going to drag you along, and we're going to go out and you're going to see the car show scene in New Zealand. If you have any questions, by all means, please ask. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. You may have questions about the bus if you've been following me regularly. It's still here. In fact, it's right behind you. You can't see it, but I still have it, and I still have plans for it. And yes, the chevron is still in need of a little bit of work. That's if you've been following the channel, you'll know what I mean. If not, you can go back to the earlier videos and take a look if you're curious. So, if you like what you see, please hit like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, please use the comment section below and I will endeavour to get them sorted for you. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.